What is up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are still working on this Suzuki Grand Vitara, and I have some good news for you. So the engine is back from the engineering shop and it is currently with the mechanic. So I want to go there and see if the engine is in a good state, because when we sent it off it was really shocking. So let's go to his place and then see how the engine is currently looking and see if he's got all the parts and components to put it together. So without wasting any time, come with me. So we've just made it to the shop, and this is our cylinder head. All the cams are already installed and it's looking quite clean. Look at the valves, they're all nice and flush, which is what I was expecting to see. And this is our oil sump with all the bolts in there, the oil pickup as well as the pistons. There's our oil pump. So this is the state of our engine. So now the mechanic is fitting in the rings onto the piston. So this is the process that's quite involved. So you have to make sure that these rings are not facing the same direction. So here he's moving the lower ring into the other direction, and then the top ring is also being rotated to the opposite direction. So this is to make sure that air does not pass through. So if these are properly set to the correct spec, for example, the top one is facing one direction, the other one is facing the other direction, the third one is facing the other direction, that is the right way of putting all the rings so that it can perform correctly. Right, so here is our bearings, and these are big ends bearings. Now we're going to put these, so this is a precautionary measure to make sure that we're not reusing the old bearings. Bearings play a major role in the engine itself, so it's quite important to get new ones all the time. Whenever you're working on an engine, make sure that you get brand new bearings, because if you reuse the old ones, you're running the risk of often engine failure again, probably because of those old bearings or because of some other reason. But getting new bearings is quite key to make sure that that engine is rotating the way it should. So here we're fitting one bearing just to show you, and you can see the oil lines and the oil holes where the oil is traveling through. So that's quite interesting to see all of those up close and personal. So here you can also see that the oil is traveling through the crank all the way to the bearings, all the way to the pistons. Lubrication, lubrication, lubrication. I cannot stress this enough. This is the key factor when building an engine, because now these components are bone dry and you want to make sure that your block is actually lubricated, and the pistons and everything else is lubricated enough so that when they sit in there they move up and down nicely. So here lubricating the rings to make sure they are nice and wet, and lubricating the actual piston inside. So this is a key factor, this is a key step, because if those are not lubricated enough, oil might not travel through to get to the top of the rings and lubricate them. So here's our block. It's looking quite nice and clean. inside, as you can see, it's pretty much like a new block. Happy with that. I'm very chuffed with that. Okay, so now using the tool to compress the rings before inserting them into the block. Now this can be very tricky, but lucky enough, mechanic knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for quite some time now. So again, lubrication, lubrication, lubrication. This is very important, because with the new engine that's been rebuilt, oil might not travel enough or quick enough to get to those dry places. So now also lubricating the bottom of the piston, lubricating the bearings, ensuring that it's a nice fit, nice and snug. So here we putting in the piston number 2. Yeah, this is piston number 2, to ensure that it's sitting nicely. So gently massaging it into the hole to make sure that it sits really nice. So this is key to make sure that it doesn't chip the block itself. So this is a critical step. So it has to be done gently and ensuring that it sits right in the center, and also facing the correct direction, because orientation is key. Sometimes it could be facing the wrong direction, which could cause catastrophic failure. So there we go, it's in, one piston in, 3 more to go. Okay, now that the piston is in, so now flip the block on its side to put in the other part of the piston. Again, lubrication, lubrication, lubrication. This is important. So sitting that nicely against the piston, ensuring that it's properly seated before actually torquing. Now we are on a home stretch. We are almost done with piston number 2 or port number 2, depending on how you see them. So we are almost there. Just ensuring that it's sitting properly and it's sitting the way it should. Now that this is torqued down, so let's see if it actually rotates, because that's the most important thing. Rotation. Oh, there we go. So it's actually rotating freely, which is awesome. So it's been a few days later and the engine is finally in the car, which is the biggest step that we had to go through, so which is awesome. So the engine is looking really nice, and we've got the alternator connected, we've got the aircon pump connected. So the next thing to go on would be the cylinder head gasket and the cylinder head itself and the cooling system and all the other little things to button up. So stay tuned to see what we will do in the next episode.